Today we are going to discuss about functions in JavaScript. JavaScript functions. A JavaScript function is a block of code designed to perform a particular task. A JavaScript function is executed when something calls it or something invokes it. Now we will see more about function syntax, some examples, the return value of a function invocation or function call, etc. First, the function syntax. JavaScript function is defined with the function keyword followed by a name and followed by parenthesis. Function names can contain letters, digits, underscores, and dollar signs. Same rule is followed as that of variables. The parenthesis may include parameter names separated by commas, like parameter 1, comma, parameter 2, comma, parameter 3, comma, etc. The code to be executed by the function is placed inside curly bracket. That is the body of the function. Consider a simple example that defines the complete structure of a JavaScript function. The function starts with a function keyword followed by a name. Here in our example, name is the name of the function, followed by three parameters separated by comma, parameter 1, comma, parameter 2, comma, parameter 3, and the code to be executed is placed inside curly bracket. How it is invoked? Function invocation. The code inside the function will execute when something invokes or calls the function. There are different cases for invoking a function. First one is when an event occurs, just like when a user clicks on a button. When it is invoked or called from JavaScript code, directly JavaScript code can invoke a particular function. The third method is self-invocation, that is automatically invoked after elapsing a particular time. A particular function will be invoked. Automatically it is invoked. Function return. When JavaScript reaches a return statement, the function will stop executing. If the function was invoked from a statement, function will return to execute the code after the invoking statement. This is similar to C invocation, Java method invocation, etc. The functions often compute a return value. The return value is returned back to the caller. We will see one example now. See in this example, after HTML tag, the body tag is specified, and inside body one heading is there, JavaScript function, that is enclosed in h2 tags, followed by a paragraph. The example calls a function which performs a calculation and returns the result. So this particular example demonstrates how a function returns the value to the calling statement. There is another paragraph tag and the ID value is set to demo. In our script, function, my function, p1, p2, that is a function definition. The first function is the keyword followed by the name of the function, that is my function, followed by arguments inside parenthesis p1 and p2, and the return value, the body of the function contains only a single statement, that is a return statement. So return p1 into p2, that means p1 and p2 values are multiplied together and that value is returned back to the calling statement. Okay, so here followed by the function there is a simple statement document.getElement by id demo dot inner html. So this statement will find out a particular html element. That element id is set to demo. So here we have the second paragraph tag PID is equal to demo, and that content, there is nothing right now. The content will be placed using inner HTML property. Dot inner HTML is equal to my function 4 comma 3. So equal to my function 4 comma 3 will invoke the function script function my function. The name matches here, my function, with two arguments. First argument is 4, that is assigned to p1, and the second argument is 3, that is assigned to p2. Okay, so after invoking my function, 4 and 3 will be multiplied together and the value is returned back to the calling statement. So here the calling statement is document.getElement by id demo.innerHTML is equal to my function 4 comma 3. So the assignment will be performed with the returned value of my function, that is 12. 4 into 3, that is 12. Okay, so this is how the invocation and retaining of a particular value is performed in JavaScript function. So this example calls a function which performs a calculation and returns the result 12. That's it. Now we will see another example. A function without parenthesis will return the function definition. Suppose we are invoking a particular function without the parenthesis. Then what will happen? It will return the function definition. For example, in the previous case, we have function my function p1 comma p2. Suppose when we are calling my function 4 comma 3, suppose we are not specifying 4 comma 3 in parentheses, only the name of the function, that is my function, without brackets and 4 comma 3, 4 and 3 is specified, then that particular statement will retain the function definition. That means function my function p1 comma p2, that is a function definition. So in this example, the function definition is retained. Suppose a function without parenthesis is there when we are calling that particular function. In this program, after HTML, we have a body tag. There is a heading JavaScript functions followed by two paragraphs. The first paragraph is a message. A accessing a function without parenthesis will retain the function definition instead of the function result. Followed by another paragraph, id is equal to demo is set. In our script, function to Celsius f. F is the argument there. So parenthesis, inside parenthesis f is there. Return 5 by 9 into f minus 32. So to Celsius value, Fahrenheit to Celsius, if is performed and that particular Celsius value is to be retained. Suppose in our calling statement document.getElement by id demo.innerHTML is equal to Celsius without parenthesis or a particular argument. So this statement will retain the function definition. That means function space to Celsius f, that is the value to be retained. That function definition is retained instead of retaining the actual calculated information or the result. This is how a function without parenthesis will work. Now we will see something about some other information about function. Function scope. There are two different scopes, local scope and global scope. JavaScript function has function scope. Each function creates a new scope. That means suppose you are creating a function scope is created. That is a local scope, local to that particular function only. Scopes determines the accessibility or visibility of variables. Suppose a particular function is having, normally that has a local scope. Suppose we are defining a variable inside a function will not be accessible to the out of that particular function scope. Function creates a block. A variable defined inside that particular function is not accessible out of that function. There is no global scope. Okay, so There are two different types of scope, local scope and global scope. Here we have introduced a new scope, that is function scope, with respect to JavaScript functions, that is local scope actually. Variables defined inside a function are not accessible or visible from outside the function. So that is local scope. Suppose we are defining a variable out of that particular function is having a global scope. The function as well as some other block of area can access such variables. Local JavaScript variables. We will see more about local JavaScript variables now. Variables declared within a JavaScript function become local to the function. Local variables have local scope. They can only be accessed within the function. That means a variable defined inside a function are not accessible outside that function. We will see examples. In our first example, function my function is the name of the function without any arguments. Parenthesis is there. Variable car name is equal to Volvo. So that statement var, that is variable, car name, that is a variable name, equal to assignment operator, a value Volvo, a string value is there. So initialization is performed. After this statement, any code can access the newly created variable name car name. Out of this function, car name cannot be accessed because car name has a local scope, that is the function scope. Since local variables are only recognized inside their functions, variables with the same name can be used in different functions. Local variables are created when a function starts and deleted when the function is completed. So all these things are about local JavaScript variables. Now on the other hand, we have global JavaScript variables. We will see a variable declared outside a function becomes global. That means a global JavaScript variable can be accessed from anywhere in that particular program. A global variable has global scope. All scripts and functions on a web page can access it. See the second example. var car name is equal to Volvo, that is placed out of that particular function my function, so that function code inside the function my function and out of that particular function, some code will be there out of that function, all the code can use the newly created car name variable. Inside the function and out of that particular function, car name variable has accessibility or visibility. So such variables are known as global variables. So see the difference between two examples. In the first example, car name is placed inside my function, that is a function. So it is having a local scope that is available only inside that my function. On the other hand, in the second example, we have placed that particular car name variable out of that particular my function. So it is having a global scope. Okay. Now, real life objects, properties and methods. These are some examples. Okay, how objects, properties and methods are associated with some real life entities. Okay, in real life, a car is an object. A car has properties like weight and color and methods like start and stop. See, these objects, properties and methods, how these are differentiated. The object name, see the table below. The object name is car. Always the object is car and it is having so many properties. Its name, its name may be different, model may be different, weight may be different, color may be different. So these properties, the difference in different properties makes a particular object unique. Okay, for example, we all are human beings. So our name is different, our weight will be different, our color will be different, our height will be different. Okay, all these properties make us unique. Likewise, a real world or real life entity is having uniqueness with respect to its property values. And the methods car.start, car.drive, car.break, car.stop, all these are some operations or methods. Okay, so all cars have the same properties, but the property values differ from car to car. All cars have the same methods, but the methods are performed at different times. So properties are some of the defining concepts. On the other hand, methods are some of the operations. See the example. Here we are creating a JavaScript object. There is a message creating a JavaScript object that is placed inside paragraph tags, start tag and end tag, followed by another paragraph tag with an ID value is equal to demo, and script is specified here. So here a JavaScript object is created where person that is equal to, in curly brackets, first name colon John, last name colon Doe, age colon 50, eye color colon blue. So all these are property value pairs: first name, last name, age, eye color, all these are properties and values are assigned after the colon. Okay, so document dot get element by id demo dot inner html is equal to person dot first name plus a simple comment that is in inside double quotes plus person dot age plus years old. So this particular statement will get a value. The person dot first name, person is the object name here, dot first name, that is a John. So person dot first name will return John, and concatenation operator plus is there that will attach is with the first value John, followed by person dot age. So again concatenation is performed by using plus operator 50, that is the age value here. Person is the object name and the property is age, and the value returned will be person dot age will return 50 plus concatenation with years old message. So John is 50 years old, that is a value to be attached here. So the second paragraph element that is having id is equal to demo, id value is demo there. So that particular paragraph element will get a content now, that is John is 50 years old. So this is how JavaScript objects are accessed by using properties. Now we will see HTML events. Event handling. It's a very important concept, event handling. An HTML event can be something the browser does or something a user does. Suppose after 50 seconds you need to perform something, you need to get a new display of your browser or web page, or you are clicking on a particular registration button, that is from user side. Okay, browser for example after 5 seconds or 10 seconds, suppose the login will be expired after 1 minute idle time, the login will be expired. That is an HTML event that can be done by a browser, or a particular user is clicking on a button, that is something a user does, then something to be happened. All these are based on event handling. Here are some examples of HTML events. An HTML web page has finished loading. After page load, completely loading that page, you will get a message, welcome to FISAT. Okay, just like it's an example, our website will not show any welcome message. An HTML input field was changed. The color of input field is changing, or and a verification is done after the input field change. An HTML button was clicked. You are clicking on a registration or submit button. All these are some of the examples of HTML events. Often, when event happen, you may want to do something. JavaScript let you execute code when events are detected. HTML allows event handler attributes with JavaScript code to be added to HTML event. Now we will see more about event handler attributes and JavaScript code related to event handling that to be added to HTML elements. Okay, so one example is here. In the following example, an on-click attribute with code is added to a button element. How that is added? Okay, this is a part of HTML actually. The JavaScript part we need to implement. So first, how a button is when a button is clicked, something to be happened, such an event is coded using HTML. So in this example, button on click is equal to document.getElementById by id demo dot inner HTML is equal to date. The time is, that is a display or message there. Okay, so button is closed. In this example above, the JavaScript code changes the content of the element with id is equal to demo. See, button on click is equal to document.getElementById.innerHTML is equal to date. So date is a function, JavaScript function here. So we are not going to implement a new function. Your user defined function is not created here. System function, built-in function is called just to demonstrate this content change. Okay, so date function is called here. So date function will retain the system date. So on clicking a particular button, the date will be displayed on a particular element whose id value is equal to demo. That is what is going to happen. See one another example. The code changes the content of its own element using this dot inner HTML. So in the previous example, in the first example, that is in blue color, in the third line in this particular slide, and the second example is the last line in this particular slide with blue color text. So button on click is equal to this dot inner HTML. This represents the current HTML element. This dot inner HTML is equal to date. Again the system function date is invoked here. So the time is, previously before clicking on that particular button, the button label will be the time is. On clicking that particular button, the date value will appear on the button. This is how this particular code executes. JavaScript code is often several lines long. It is more common to see even attributes calling functions. See this example: HTML body, paragraph tag, click the button to display the date. Button on click is equal to display date. The time is. Okay. See, button on click is a property, and the value assigned is a function name. It's a user defined function. Display date, it's a user defined function that to be implemented in our program. Then the time is question mark. The time is question mark is the first label to be printed on the button. Then button element is closed. After that, we have created a function in script tags. Function display date, document.getElementById demo.innerHTML is equal to date. So here document.getElementById demo.innerHTML is equal to date is created as a separate function. In the previous example, directly we have invoked date function for the on click property. So here on click is equal to display date means that is assigned with a user defined function, that is display date, and that function is created explicitly in script tags so that we can call user defined function. So it's a simple demonstration how a user can create functions and that can be included with event handler like on click. On click is the event handler. On clicking a particular button, that is the event handler, the source of event. So in the function display date, what we have done is identifying a particular element with the id value is equal to demo, and using the property inner HTML we have set the date, that is by invoking system built-in function date. Okay, so that particular element will display, that is demo id demo. A particular element with id demo will display the current system date. So this is how the program works. That particular id is here, p id is equal to demo, so slash p. So this is how event handling is implemented in JavaScript. Now we will see something about math object. Math object. Math object means some functions related to mathematical functions. Absolute value, cost value, sign value, seal value, floor value, exponential value, min value, max value, etc. Okay, so first we will be starting with a simple example. HTML followed by body tag, then a heading is there, JavaScript math.py. Py. So how a pi value is returned? So this example demonstrates the use of pi, math.py. So there is a comment, math.py returns the ratio of a circle circumferences to its diameter, followed by another paragraph tag, id is equal to demo is set. And so something to be modified there later in this program, followed by a script is there, document.getElement by id demo.innerHTML is equal to math.py or pi. So that means inner HTML will assign the value retained by pi attribute. So math is the function there, math.py. So it's a class and it's object like a thing, type of thing. So math.py always retains 3.141592 etc. Okay, and the output is also specified there, JavaScript math.py, that is a heading, followed by a comment, math.py returns the ratio of a circle circumferences to its diameter, and the result. So after executing document.getElement by id demo.innerHTML is equal to math.py, that is pi, that will retain 3.1415926535897993. Okay, so this is how math objects works. Math, that is the object name, and pi is the property. So some methods and its description is specified here. So you need to just read all these methods and its description. ABS method retains the absolute value of a number. A cos retains a cosine in radians of a number. A sine retains the arc sine in radians of a number. A tan retains the arc tangent in radians of a number. A tan 2 retains the arc tangent of the quotient of its arguments. Seal retains the smallest integer greater than or equal to a number. Cos retains the cosine of a number. Exp method retains en when n is the argument and e is the Euler constant, the base of the natural logarithm, exponential value. Floor retains the largest integer less than or equal to a number, followed by log method is there, retains the natural logarithm base e of a number. Max, that function retains the largest of 0 or more numbers. Min retains the smallest of 0 or more numbers. POW, that power, that retains base to the exponent power, that is base exponent. Random retains a pseudo random number between 0 and 1. Round retains the value of a number rounded to the new integer, nearest integer. Sign retains the sign of a number. SQRT, square root, retains the square root of a number. Tan retains the tangent of a number. To source retains the string math. So these are the some of the methods or functions and in its descriptions. Just go through all these functions and its description in your program. You can use this. Now we will see more about dates. Date formats. A JavaScript date can be written as a string. One example is given here: Thursday, THU, September, SCP, 28/2017, date and year, followed by time 09 colon hour 42, that is minute, followed by seconds 20. GMT, global mean time or Greenwich mean time, plus 5:30 IST, or as a number. So the same can be represented as a number: 15065719400792. This is millisecond value. Date written as a number specifies the number of milliseconds since January 1, 1970, 0000 hours. Okay, so that particular time till the specified time, how many milliseconds are there, that must be counted, and that particular value is written as a number. Okay, so for example, Thursday, September 28, 2017, 9:42 20 seconds. So from January 1st, 1970, 00 hours till that September 28, 2017, Thursday, 9:42 20 seconds. That millisecond is counted and that is represented here. That is the value representation as a number. Okay, see the example. HTML followed by body, paragraph tag is there, id is equal to demo, followed by script is there, document.getElement by id demo.inner HTML is equal to date, that will display the date in a string format. The output is specified there. So for example, suppose today's date, today is January 8th, Friday 2021, and the time is 10:55 am. Then FRI space JAN space 082021 10:55 the second is now 23:23 GMT plus 0530 in bracket IST. That will be the value for today's date or at this particular time. Okay, suppose you are executing the date function now, you will be getting the current time. Another example, here we are creating a new date. So D is the object here, date object is created here. In our script, var d is equal to new date October 13 2014 11:13:00. So D is created with the date October 13 2014 and the time will be 11:13:00 seconds. So that is the associated value of object D. It's a new date object. So document.getElement by id demo.inner HTML is equal to D. That will give a value like October 13 2014. The weekday will be displayed maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The corresponding 3 alphabet representation will be there, followed by OCT 13 space 2014 space 11:13:00 space GMT plus 0530 in bracket IST. That will be the value returned by D. Okay, so this is how date objects are created. For that we need to use date, the object name date, okay, along with the new operator. Okay, so using new date followed by a number creates a new date object as 0 time plus the number. 0 time is 01 January 1917 0000. The number is specified in millisecond. So the 0 time means January 1st 1970 00 hours. Okay, so from that particular time the given number will be added and that is the millisecond associated number from time 0 and the corresponding time or date is created. See in our this example, in our this particular program, var d is equal to new date followed by a number 864000000. So time 0 plus these many milliseconds are added and a new date is created. That may be Friday, January 2nd 1970 5:30 GMT something. Okay, maybe. So this is how a new date is created by using number. The number is the millisecond from time 0. JavaScript date input. There are generally 4 types of JavaScript date input formats: ISO date, short date, long date, full date. ISO date is international standard date, that is first 4 digit representation for year hyphen 2 digit representation for month hyphen 2 digit representation for date. Example 2015-03-25, the international standard date representation. Short date is 03/25/2015. So here month comes first. then date, then year. MMDD format. Long date. So the month will be represented using three digit alphabet, three alphabets. March, MAR is the representation, followed by a space, and date followed by a space, then year. Or 25 March MAR 2015. Two different formats are there. Full date format is Wednesday, March 25, 2015. So the day and weekday will be there along with month and year. Okay. So these are the four types of JavaScript date input formats: ISO date, short date, long date, full date. Then JavaScript date output. Independent of input format, JavaScript will by default output dates in full text string format that we have already seen. One example is there: Wednesday, March 25, 2015, 5:30:00 GMT plus 0530 IST. Now we will see some of the date methods, date get methods, how to get date related information. Get methods are used for getting a part of a date. Here are the most common methods. Get date, get the day as a number 1 to 31. Get date, March 31st. So 31st, 31. For example, for today's date, we will get a get date value as 8. Get day, get the weekday as a number 0 to 6. That is Monday is 1, Saturday is 6. 0 will be Sunday. Get full year, get the 4 digit year. Get hours, get the hour in 24-hour format. Get milliseconds, get the milliseconds 0 to 999. Get minutes, get the minutes 0 to 59. Get month, get the month. 0 is January and 11 is December, 0 to 11. Get seconds, get the seconds 0 to 59 is the values. Get time, get the time in milliseconds since January 1, 1970. So these are some of the get methods associated with date object. How to create a date object? A date object lets us work with date. A date consists of a year, a month, a day, an hour, a minute, a second, and milliseconds. Date objects are created with the new date constructor. There are four ways of initiating a date. New date, that is the first constructor without any arguments. New date with milliseconds, that is number value. New date, date string representation of date you can specify as the argument. New date, year, comma month, comma day, comma hours, comma minutes, comma seconds, comma milliseconds. These are the four constructors for creating new date objects. One example is given here. So in the script tag var d is equal to new date without any argument is specified, so the system date will be considered to create the date object d. And document.getElement by id demo.in.html is equal to d will display that date. Okay, so this is how date object and its associated informations are carried out. Thank you.